If you're anything like me, I'm sure you've been clamoring to try out these World War Hulk, Earth Mightiest Heroes decks, these decks that ramp into nonsense, just spam out a whole bunch of creatures onto the field and win through that means. And I have actually been playing this deck or these decks over the last couple of days. And you know what? I can say that they've been quite fun. When they do the thing, they definitely do the thing to great effect, and they absolutely can do it. However, because of the nature of these types of decks, you gotta get a little bit lucky. Sometimes your ramp gets disrupted, sometimes you draw a little bit strangely, sometimes you just get aggroed down before you can do the thing. So I think overall, on a competitive level, these decks probably aren't going to be quite good enough, but they are a whole lot of fun, and that's what we're going to try to do in this video today. Now, I've played a lot of different versions of this deck. This is the initial version that I started with, and it works just fine. I think if you went with something like this, you would probably be okay. However, I started to realize that Earth's Mightiest Heroes is actually a little bit of a better card than World War Hulk. And one of the main reasons for that was because I started playing dinosaurs. And when I started playing dinosaurs, I discovered this card, Hulking Raptor, a 4 CMC 5/3 with Ward 2. It says at the beginning of your first main phase, add 2 green mana. So the idea here is that you get this onto the battlefield very quickly, hopefully on turn 3, and then on turn 4, you should have 6 mana, and then that will allow you to go into Earth's Mightiest Heroes with the Teamwork 5, which Hulking Raptor can provide. You can do the crazy stuff. But this was dinosaurs, and dinosaurs have their limitation because they're just a little bit too cute. Well, I started looking around a little bit more, and I came across a deck by somebody known as Occam's Butter Knife, I think over on Moxfield, and they had a pretty similar list to what I was working with. I took some of their ideas and just changed things ever so slightly, but it's mostly their deck. Um, this is the one that we're going to be playing today, and I think it is going to be a whole lot of fun. So the dinosaur plan was cute, but of course it required you to attack, and we don't want to be attacking. So when we do our big thing, I think one of the best cards that we can cheat into play is going to be Terror of the Peaks. This was one that Occam was on top of that I wasn't quite on top of yet. And Terror of the Peaks is going to be great because when we drop a whole bunch of stuff onto the field with, we have two ways of doing it. This can just end the game on the spot. So I guess we should talk about World War Hulk before we get further into what's going on here. This is a 5 CMC enchantment. It says the next red or green creature spell you cast this turn can be cast without paying its mana cost. So we slam this down on turn whatever. We do have the Llanowar Elf, Badgermole, Bramber Familiar ideas going on in here, so we are going to be able to ramp into stuff quickly. We put this out, and then we can play out pretty much any of these is our main target. We have our Vaultborn Tyrant, our Ghalta, or our Progenitus. All of these are going to be fine creatures to throw on the field. If we get down to Progenitus, the opponent outside of a board wipe is really not going to be able to remove Progenitus. I guess they could also have an edict effect where they make us sacrifice it. But for the most part, Progenitus is going to be on the field and destroying the opponent in 2 turns. Of course, if we throw down the Ghalta, that means that Ghalta can bring out everything else that's in our hand. This is the ideal hit because usually we're going to have 2 or 3 other creatures in hand that we want to get on the field. And then Vaultborn Tyrant is just a great card. It stabilizes, it draws more cards. This thing is actually so fantastic. It's actually probably the all-star of the deck in overall. Now, we are only playing 3 World War Hulks. I was originally playing 2. I've gone up to 3 now. But Earth's Mightiest Heroes is the card that I think is better because this says reveal the top 8 cards of your library. You may put a creature card from among them onto the battlefield. But if this spell was cast with its teamwork, which is what we're going to be aiming to do with the Hulking Raptor, we can put any number of creature cards from among those 8 cards onto the battlefield instead. So if we have the Hulking Raptor out, we cast Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Hopefully we can hit something like a Terror of the Peaks and then a smattering of other big creatures that should blast the opponent down. Now, outside of our ramp, our typical Llanowar Elf and Badgermole, we do have 4 copies of the Hauntwood of the Overlord of the Hauntwood. This is also a great hit on the Earth's Mightiest Heroes because it is a 6/5, works very well with the Terror of the Peaks. And the last card is the Bramble Familiar, which is mostly going to be a mana dork, but this thing is a nice backup option because of Fetch Quest. Mill 7 cards, then put a creature, enchantment, or land card from among them onto the battlefield. So if we get into a pinch where we have a lot of mana on board, but we are kind of top decking looking for an answer, we just can't quite find a World War Hulk, which is kind of useless when we don't have any cards in our hand, or an Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Well, we do have the Fetch Quest. Maybe we can find a cheeky Progenitus or Ghalta to save the day. So that is the plan. We're going to jump into some games as usual and see if we can actually make some of this nonsense work. See you over there. So how have all of your experiences been with World War Hulk and Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Have you actually been having success with it, or has it been a little bit iffy if you've been playing this or playing against it? I have seen very few people playing it. I'm a little bit surprised. I guess it's because they are a lot of rares, admittedly. So people don't want to be investing in a deck that is not tested or verified being good. Probably other things are much better to be using your resources on. This Deep Cavern Bat, I'll tell you, Deep Cavern Bat has been absolutely destroying my life lately. It just comes at the worst times every single time I play against it. Oh man, I hate it. I hate it so much. Anyway, so the opponent took our Overlord of the Hauntwood. That was the disruption that they needed, and we are now in trouble. But yeah, how have you been finding... Big troubles. How have you been finding these cards if you've seen them on the ladder? I'm very curious about that. Next turn, we are praying that the opponent doesn't have any interaction, and we are also praying that we got 2, 4, 6, 7. If we hit a land, we can go Ghalta, Progenitus, Vaultborn Tyrant, and then we'll be in okay shape. This is still 9 damage coming in at us. And you know what this deck tends to do for me? It tends to tease me. It tends to get me up just high enough. But this time around, it actually did the thing. We actually found the mana and we get these things down. So we stabilize maybe ever so slightly. We do have a pretty nice board now. They're going to have a hard time getting through with anything outside of this Deep Cavern Bat. But the thing is, the Deep Cavern Bat is pretty big. And unless we find a little bit more juice, I don't know if I can actually finish things off. The Bloodthirsty Conqueror is also a big problem. Right? This thing's going to hit us for 10 now. Boom. And everything gets a little bit bigger. And we find, okay, Bramble Familiar is kind of good. Let's do it before combat. And what do we find? We find Vaultborn Tyrant because Ghalta is useless, obviously. So we're going to heal just a little bit. It's not the worst way to go about things. Okay, and World War Hulk for the future could be good. How much mana do we actually have? We have 2, 3 mana. Okay. Is there any reason not to attack in with Ghalta? And I think the answer is no. I don't think I'm winning this one. I think we're cooked. We did gain quite a bit of life, but we don't actually have... I should have put out the Bramble Familiar. That's it. Could have been a little bit better. Oh, we already made my land drop. Okay. I think this Deep Cavern Bat's bad because we don't have any reach creatures and they have the Starscape Cleric. So what happens when you don't play any kind of interaction? Your opponents do this. Good game, opponent. It's a goofy one, but you know what? I'm assuming that we're in for a whole bunch of goofy stuff. Just that's what's gonna happen. If you want to play standard, this is what you're getting into. Aren't you excited about that? Best of 1 standard, I should say. I think it's okay. It was a good... We got to see 2 decks do their things. How often do you get to see that, right? Not most often. Not too often. This hand's going to be a little bit sketchy. Oh, man. The opponent taking my Overlord of the Hauntwood probably just gave them enough time to really make their game plan work out. Opponent is on Swamp, which could mean Requiting Hex. Our Llanowar Elf tends not to be long for this world, but hey, this time around, we do get the Overlord of the Hauntwood out quickly. The problem is right now is that the Earth's Mightiest Heroes, even if we do ramp into it, we don't have a way of triggering it. So the other person's deck, Occam's Butterknife, they were playing Fenrir. And I kind of understand the idea of playing Fenrir in that deck. Because if you have like a Badgermole Cub and a Fenrir on the field, you can get the 5 teamwork for the nonsense. But for some reason, that feels like an awkward amount of... Like, it's awkward, right? You go turn 2 Badgermole Cub, then turn 3 Fenrir. Just a little bit weird. So I figured that the Overlord of the Hunt would be maybe a little bit of a better choice. But... Here, oh man, the opponent had the removal for our Llanowar Elf that we needed for the Earth's Mightiest Heroes. So now the best case is, okay, we drew a land. So we need to do this, and we need to hit Ghalta. And we hit Ghalta. We hit Ghalta. We did it. Boys, we did it. We did it, and we throw down a second Ghalta because I want to do 12 damage. Do I want to do the damage to the opponent's face, or do I want to do the damage to these mischievous sneaklings and force the opponent into making a demon? Oh, that's a little bit of a toughie, isn't it? I think it's a lot of damage that I'm wasting here, but I do still feel like I probably just take the safe route and put the damage on these creatures. And there you go. The opponent maybe did not have a backup demon. I guess they could have made a demon with the ritual chamber, but cool. Got lucky. I see this as being one of those decks that's going to frustrate people to no end. It's just, it either does the insane thing or it does nothing. And if you are the person who's playing this deck and the cards just don't line up properly, or your opponent has the right interaction, you're going to be like, this is the biggest waste of my resources ever. Why did I bother crafting like World War Hulk and Earth's Mightiest Heroes? They're cool cards, but I don't know if they're gonna be good enough to actually justify crafting, especially in the current state. But they are backed up by our boy, the most powerful thing in Standard, this 2/2 Badgermole Cub. Nothing is more powerful than this card right here. However, did I speak maybe a little bit too soon? Here we get the turn 3 Hulking Raptor onto the field, and do I need the mana? So this is gonna be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I can keep the Badgermole Cub back as a blocker against the Tifa if I absolutely need to put something in front of Tifa. I don't want to put something in front of Tifa, but we'll see. Outside of like 20 damage coming at me, I don't think we are doing anything against her. Don't have a fetch land. It's always a fetch land. But this is not that much damage. It's just 10 damage. It's fine. And our Earth's Mightiest Heroes should give us the card we need to get the Terror of the Peaks and the Ghalta on the field. So we should be able to start blasting. I hope. We do only have 2 more Ghaltas in the deck, so we need to hit one of those 2 Ghaltas within the top 2 cards of or 8 cards of our library. We'll see. Hulking Raptor is drawn. We're going for it. We could have blocked, obviously, the Tifa there. I don't know why the game does this, but it makes you tap weirdly. I don't know. It doesn't like this card for some reason. We did not hit a Ghalta or a Terror of the Peaks, which is disastrous. But we are putting a tremendous amount of power onto the board. We have a second Earth's Mightiest Heroes. That's good. And we are healing quite a bit. From here, I suppose we just Badgermole Cub. So next turn, if we survive, we can just do whatever we want next turn, right? Essentially. So, but we do have to survive. We do have the Vaultborn Tyrant and the Overlord of the Hauntwood to throw in front of something. Tifa could actually just like OTK me though, especially with this Traveling Chocobo on the field. If they have a fetch land. How much? This is 4 triggers of... I think I'm dead. What? This game's insane. I guess I should have blocked Tifa, right? This is so much damage. Amazingly, so much damage coming in. I would have to put my entire board in front of her. And I don't think it's possible. It's going to be like 80 something damage, right? I'm surprised they put... I guess it doesn't really matter where they put these counters. Yeah. At least... I don't even know what to say about this game. Like, that was turn 4. And you see both of these boards. These 2 boards are absolutely hulked out. What has the design teams done that have allowed cards to just get so outrageously overpowered for everyone? I'm not complaining. This is stupid. What are we doing here? We should be playing maybe 5 power creatures for 4 mana in Standard, right? Everyone out here, best of 1 Standard, walking around with nuclear bazookas. Like, I don't even know what we're all dropping warheads. We're all war criminals out here. I don't know. silly things enabled by busted cards, and that's what we're going to be doing. And we're not going to be playing any interaction. We don't do that around here. We just play the nonsense. I think I'm going to lean on the Bramble Familiar. The Badgermole Cub, yeah, we could have gone out with it, but it wouldn't have really done anything. It would have just added, like, we didn't have anything to go into it. The Badgermole Cub on 2 is good when you have that turn 1 Llanowar Elf, but I think what I prefer doing is just getting the other mana dorks out in the case of, if it's just the Badgermole Cub, what I'm trying to say. So we do have the Hulking Raptor out now, which means that next turn we can start ramping into stuff. I don't know what this is all about. At the beginning of your upkeep, investigate once if your opponent, for each opponent who has more cards in hand than you. Our opponent is doing angel stuff, and honestly, it's probably going to be good enough, right? It seems like it's going to be good enough. There's the Ghalta. Do I regret putting the Badgermole Cub into exile because of that? I don't know. Am I just dead? So if we go Badgermole Cub this time and then turn on this land, we can still get this Hulking Raptor onto the field. And as long as we don't die on this turn, we can then slam these. And then hopefully with the Terror of the Peaks, we can maybe start pinging stuff down. At least ping one thing down. But this Ghalta is going to be making their angels very big. Practiced offense. It's bad news. Do I need to... This is 8, 9, 10, 11. It's not lethal damage coming in, but it's a lot of damage. Do I need... This is 2, 4, 6, 8 mana. I can throw the Hulking Raptor in front of that. That's fine. And this is going to deal 6 damage to the Wojak. That's fine. And actually, the Badgermole Cub's not... It's not great. It's only doing 2 damage. It's not doing 3 damage, so I can't get rid of the Ghalta. Wait, am I just dead, though? I might just be dead. I am dead. I'm going to put the damage there for... Oh, no. Thank God for the Vaultborn Tyrant. I should have put the damage up on top. I don't know why I clicked on the Ghalta. Just being goofy. Could have drawn... I guess I could have drawn maybe something that I could have played out. A Llanowar Elf. Yeah, maybe it was right to do it that way. Because I could have drawn the Llanowar Elf. Would have put it out for 1 more damage and pinged the Ghalta down. So thankfully, the Vaultborn Tyrant got me up big enough that this practiced offense isn't going to kill me. Because they would have had 8 damage coming in. They have 10 damage coming in. Wow. It's so... They had double practiced offense. I guess I did have the Terror of the Peaks. I forgot it flies. Boom, boom. Okay. And World War Hulk is cool. It doesn't really do anything for us, right? But how much damage is this? Should I count it out? No. Let's just go. I think it's enough. I think we... Who's counting? The opponent's got to count that out. They could put Ghalta in front of Terror of the Peaks to stop maximum amounts of... I guess in front of the Hulking Raptor. That doesn't matter. One of the two. Stop maximum amounts of damage. But Angels trying to beat us down, and they were so close to doing it. I think we went first, and maybe that made the difference. Going first, what an advantage. I'm very much at a loss for words with how these games have gone. These 4 games. It has just been... pedal to the metal nonsense. And I kind of didn't expect it to be like the opponents to also have such insane things. Originally, I had Avengers Disassembled in this deck. I also had Pyroclasms in this deck. Like, I was trying different things. And eventually, I shifted gears into just no interaction. We're doing our game plan, and that's all we're doing. And... It's okay. I think that's probably how you have to treat this type of deck. Yeah. you can't be out here trying to be interacting with people if you're trying to cheat out a Progenitus on turn 5, which is what we're gearing up for. Unfortunately, the opponent did have the interaction for our poor Bramble Familiar. But they don't have scary things coming at us, so we just get this Hulking Raptor onto the field, hope that this thing distracts the opponent a little bit, and then that'll give us enough time to do this. Interesting. to know. Progenitus has protection from everything, which means that outside of a devious cover-up or a strategic betrayal, I think this mono black opponent is probably not going to be able to remove our stuff. But Progenitus has protection from everything, which means that it also has protection from these two abilities. So in ways, we actually don't really want only Progenitus on the field. We definitely want to have other creatures on the field, which we are going to be able to do this case. We're going to put World War Hulk out. We're going to slam the Progenitus. We'll also put the Llanowar Elf onto the field. So here we get to see some Progenitus gameplay. It's not foolproof because we could die to devious cover up. It's not outside of the realm of possibilities that this opponent would have a devious cover up. They also do have this annoying Bane Maker. It is kind of the bane of me right now because I can't really get in with the Hulking Raptor. I don't think it's worth attacking through. I would rather save the Hulking Raptor for maybe a Earth's Mightiest Heroes off the top. And they do have now the Furdock Core and the Unholy Annex. So a devious cover up right now would be devastating. It's a game. It's done in that case, I think. And it's a little bit awkward. I guess we'll be fine attacking in. We're going to attack in with the Progenitors, but they're going to go up to 19 this turn. And then they're going to go up to 11 after they go down to 9, which is a little bit awkward because Progenitus can't actually kill them in 2 swings because of the Unholy Annex life gain that they're going to be getting. So even if they don't do anything, we still have a 2-turn clock because we can attack in with the Hulking Raptor and Llanowar Elf. It's still just a little bit awkward. Okay, the opponent has the Heartless Act to remove our Hulking Raptor. And why are they doing that? And it's making me wonder if they have a strategic betrayal. Nope. Intimidation Tactics does nothing against the training compound. So that probably means now I can't actually attack in with the Llanowar Elf against this Bane Maker because they might have so bad. I'm only going in with this. I'm so scared of a strategic betrayal. And again, it sucks because Progenitus now isn't lethal for next turn. Can't get over this Llanowar Elf unless we have Trample. It does gain Trample. Hold up. Wait a minute. Double power. We're going to have an 8. I think we're good, actually. We're going to have 18 power coming in, and they can mitigate 4 of it. They're going to be at 14. That's an interesting attack. It didn't matter, though, right? They were at 13. Did I miscount somewhere? So we double up on the Llanowar Elf, and we swing in with everything. And this should be lethal damage. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hey, there you go. There you get to see Progenitus doing something. And we finally get 2 wins under our belt. So we were making progress finally instead of doing the seesaw back and forth at the bottom of Platinum Tier 4. All right, Hulk, let's keep going. Again, I'm so surprised that so far in the 5 games that we've played, we have seen the nonsense happening. It just keeps happening. And honestly, this hand looks okay to me too. I would have preferred... No. It doesn't matter. The Bramble Familiar is okay on turn 2. As long as it survives, then we go into the Hulking Raptor on turn 3. And then we can go into the World War Hulk. But we need to find some more juicy stuff off the top. Maybe some Terror of the Peaks would be kind of cool. Or Vaultborn Tyrant. I said in the intro. Vaultborn Tyrant, absolute monster of a card. Progenitus, also a monster of a card. Unfortunately, this opponent might be on Day of Judgment. So... Progenitus, not so good. This opponent is 100% on Day of Judgment. And so now what we need, the most important thing off the top right now, in the next 2 turns, is a land. Because this Bramble Familiar is 100% getting Lightning Helixed. So if we can't... What? We found the land anyways. Monica Rambo? I would never have expected a Monica Rambo out of this mana base. We are against Jeskai Heroes, not Jeskai Control. Thank you. Thank you. I'm crying over here. Because next turn, if the opponent doesn't remove both of these creatures, we get to do some cool stuff. Monica coming in. You get it done, girl. You do it. You do your thing. Do you guys know anything about this character outside of what movie was it? The Marvels? I don't remember this character. But it doesn't matter because we now have a Progenitus, and why not throw out a Llanowar elf for good measure? I do not expect this opponent to have Day of Judgment. So this Progenitus plus Ghalta combo should get things done. Ghalta becomes a 30-30 by Chapter 3 if it is not interacted with. And I don't know what the Heroes deck is packing that they can stop that. What are they going to stop? How are they going to stop a 15-15 and a 10-10? Go Ninja Go. Pretty cool. Exile it, return it. So they're going to get a 3-ish Quantum Riddler. They cheated a Quantum Riddler onto the field, but that is not enough power. We're bringing in the heat, and the Progenitus Dynamite thing is it's working. It's kind of working. Slugger is our 7th opponent. I believe we're gearing up for 10 games. These ones are pumping along awfully nicely. Ghalta seems okay. I'm sure we'll draw 1 or 2 more friends for Ghalta to bring out onto the field. This card, what a card, right? I actually wanted to buy it in paper when I was putting together my Aunt Laza dinosaur deck. I know, very original. But so I've had a dinosaur deck for the longest time, and I think it was just a Ghalta deck. You know, you're an EDH player from like 2018, 2019. Of course you have. That's a lot of firebrands. Of course you're gonna have a Ghalta deck. And when I got back into playing EDH, I decided that I would update the dinosaur deck. And what that meant was, yeah, it doesn't matter. Of course we're gonna put it out. I guess no, I couldn't have put out the Hulking Raptor. So even if the opponent deals with this, you know, we still have the backup of that. I updated some stuff, and I was like, you know what, I want to fix my dinosaur deck. So I started doing like a little bit of research and seeing what dinosaurs were available, and that led me to Aunt Laza. It's just so, actually, it's kind of maybe a talking point, because it's so obvious that, like, why wouldn't you play Aunt Laza as your commander for dinosaurs? Which is kind of a problem. I think some people have stated this, is that nowadays they make the cards for commander, especially tribal commanders, so obvious that, like, it just becomes the de facto, yes, play this commander, this card as your whatever tribe commander, or yeah. So I don't know, but I made it. And then back to the Ghalta thing, when I was trying to buy cards, I think I bought like a Hulking Raptor. It was like $1 or $2 or something like that. And then I looked at it, Ghalta, and it was like 30 or 40 bucks at that time. I can't remember how much it was. I'm like, oh, nope, not buying that. I would like to get one, but when you see a price tag like that, you're just like, I know old Ghalta here, she's a mighty girl, but definitely not worth that much money as a 1 in 99. Not when you're playing at my level. I don't know. It's just not worth it for me to do. But what is worth it is smashing down somebody who's on mono red kings. I guess that's maybe an O'Hare deck. Cool. All right, Cap versus the Hulk. What a showdown, right? It should go in our favor, I would assume. I was actually talking to a friend yesterday about Hulk's power level, and he he's a big fanboy of the Hulk. So he was defending old Greenface over here, saying that, you know, he's so powerful, blah 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 blah. Hulk's fine. I'm not the biggest Hulk fan as far as like comic books and that go. I'll say it. I've never read World War Hulk. I've never read it. I've glanced at it, but I've not read that particular comic. I'm sorry. I know what I'm saying. I shouldn't be saying it, but that's the truth. I haven't read it. A little bit awkward here. We have 4 mana 2 ways, and that sucks because we can't really take full advantage of it. And I think our opponent, who is Agent Bishoping, might just destroy us. Do I really want to put the Overlord of the Hauntwood onto the field? So I might need to use this as a chump blocker. The thing is, they have trample. Yeah, I don't like this. I think I'm gonna go out with this. So what this means is that I'll have 8 mana. So if I do end up finding Ghalta off the top, that's a Vaultborn Tyrant, right? 2, 4, 6, 7, +1, 8. So I could do Ghalta plus Vaultborn Tyrant now with that extra everywhere land. And really, these things were not jumping in front of stuff. We're dead. We're dead. I guess the Badgermole Cub can chump. Whoa! Okay, we're very dead. Nice opponent. So we had a pretty good run, 4 games in a row, but yeah, suddenly Standard struck and said, hey, practiced offense is a pretty cool card, isn't it? Double practice offense, of course. Wasn't expecting that, but you should be, because nowadays it's running around all over the place and it's insane. But anyways, about the Hulk, we ended up looking up a list of the top like 100 most powerful beings in Marvel. And like the Hulk's a little, he's a little wuss. There are so many cosmic entities, reality shifters or benders, world eaters. There's so many outrageously powerful things in the Marvel universe that like the Hulk didn't even make the list. He's just a normie. What a cute little guy. Cute little guy. Okay, so we are going to be gearing up for a Earth's Mightiest Heroes, I think. Let's just do this kind of stuff. Unfortunately, we won't be able to do it next turn, but what we can do next turn is we can do World War Hulk, throw out the Ghalta. We need, I don't know what we need. Even if we get a Terror of the Peaks off the top, this Enduring Vitality is going to stick around, and we are against Squirrels. So if the opponent ends up, that's actually kind of a good draw. If the opponent ends up finding the Squirrel Girl combo, we might be toast. Like, this is a lot of power, obviously, onto the board, but the opponent is rolling, and what we need is we need one more turn. Next turn, we tap the Hulking Raptor for the Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and hopefully that sends enough damage through to the opponent, because maybe we can hit a Terror of the Peaks. It is a little bit of a YOLO. Maybe it's better to attack in with the Hulking Raptor just gets chump blocked by the Gene Pollinator. So really, we are going to be bringing 21 points of trample damage through with Ghalta and the Vaultborn Tyrant after the +3/+3 from World War Hulk. Let's see if the opponent has the Squirrel combination. This thing finally seeing some play. I think I saw it in Jim Davis's. I'm sorry, I kept thinking Jim Lee. Why his name's not Jim Lee? Jim Davis's deck. Originally, I tried the Squirrel deck once, but I haven't tried it fully. They are searching for the Squirrel Girl. So now, hold up. I mean, it's a little bit boring to do, but I guess what we do is actually just bring the crew, because they can only mitigate. They have 23. They have 23 power or life, and so we just go the safe way, because we might just die next turn. I think we do die next turn. So I think we just send the whole crew. We get a little bit more power with the Stomping Ground, but they can block the Hulking Raptor with the Raphael, but that's still plenty of damage going through. So yeah, a little unfortunate that Dwarf didn't get to realize their Squirrel Girl dream, but maybe good for us. We got to see the world. We got to see Hulk do a little bit of smashing. Okay, our 10th and final game. Actually, speaking of Hulk, my original build of this deck, the very first one that I made, I, of course, put Bruce Banner in it. It was also running blue, and the idea was that I wanted to obviously play out Bruce Banner. The problem with Bruce Banner is that you can't put Bruce Banner, you can't put the Hulk side of Bruce Banner onto the field with Ghalta. I guess because Ghalta says put any number of creature cards from your hand on the field, you don't get the choice of choosing to cast Bruce Banner side or the Hulk side. So just didn't really work out, and so I didn't do it. Ended up scrapping that idea, which is just such a shame because it would have been fun to be able to Hulk out with the Hulk. I suppose we could still put the Incredible Hulk in the deck, cut blue, don't even think about casting Bruce Banner, and then just cheat the Incredible Hulk side in onto the battlefield with, well, they take my Ghalta, I guess, with World War Hulk. That's still a possibility. A lot of threats here, opponent. We got 6 mana, so next turn, I don't know what we're going to be putting onto the field, actually. But you have to take the Ghalta. Okay, they ended up going with the Hulking Raptor. I don't hate that choice. Hulking Raptor is a little bit annoying to deal with. And now we draw the Overlord of the Huntwood, which I think ramps us a little bit and gives us a pretty good creature. So I think that's better than putting the Terror of the Peaks onto the field, because the Terror of the Peaks would end up being a little bit vulnerable to their like Bitter Triumphs or whatever they have. Low state from the opponent. This is definitely the Excruciator deck. I don't know how we do against the Excruciator deck because I haven't faced it very much. I don't think this is overly popular right now. I think it's just one of those decks that people know is strong but are too afraid to try it, because you know, you have to craft those Excruciator cards and they don't know if they know, like the play line seems a little bit off-putting to a degree. All right, we end against Jawbone with a win, and you know what, we ended up doing a whole lot better than I expected, going 7-3. All right, good job, Hulk. All right, so it works, and I think if there's any takeaway from the 10 games that I just played, it's that if you play this type of deck, you will do the thing. The thing happens. How do you lose when you do the thing? Well, you run into it's not completely invulnerable. Sometimes you don't hit the Terror of the Peak. So honestly, we only hit it like once or twice. So sometimes you just flop all your stuff up on the field and then you get hit by a Day of Judgment or Devious Cover Up or whatever. Progenitus cannot avoid that. Sometimes the deck also does kind of just betray itself. However, in those 10 games, I will say it was running a little bit smoothly. However, in my playtesting, especially last night, I was getting frustrated. We were on the draw a lot and things were just not coming together. I had to mulligan a lot. I actually didn't have to mulligan at all in these 10 games, which is a little bit insane. It just worked out. So I think, yes, this is a showcase of the deck, and it looked good. However, keep in mind that it doesn't always run as smoothly, and it is a bit of a very much a glass cannon meme deck. So it is fun to play. I think you could probably have some level of success with it, but when you start running into opponents that are familiar with this, that are not also speed racing, if you start running into more Jeskai control players, they're going to know what to look for, and it's going to be maybe a little bit hard to actually get the plan out. They don't always have the answers, and sometimes you can run them out of answers, but I think once you start running into people playing in Diamond where they bring more interactive decks, that's when this deck really starts to have trouble. And then when you're just running up against other people who are doing the battle cruiser thing, well, who goes first? Who has their turn 1 Llanowar into the Badgermole Cub on turn 2? Who has their Slickshot Show Off plotted on turn 2 and a turn 3 kill? What are you going to do in those games? You just take those losses and roll with it. So that is the core of the deck, the heart of the deck. That's what's going to happen if you end up playing something like this. Unfortunately, outrageously expensive because of these dinosaurs. The Hulking Raptor, I gotta say, Hulking Raptor plus Earth's Mightiest Heroes, what an awesome combination. And I'm kind of glad that I did stumble across this. It was good. Other people are now obviously on top of it, but like, I really want this dinosaur version of it. It didn't even get a real name. I just named it Dino Hulk. I really want something like this to work, because when you can land, a World War Hulk, you throw down the Ghalta and you have like a Palani's Hatcher in hand, or you throw down the Earth's Mightiest Heroes and you hit a Palani Hatcher and a couple other dinosaurs. It just feels so good. So I kind of think I will come back to this and try to maybe get rid of some of the, we're, like I said, we're not interacting around here anymore. We cut this stuff and see what we can do with just like a full on, honestly, throwing the Badgermole Cubs. I was trying to avoid the Badgermole Cubs when I was at this stage of making this deck, but Probably you just got to put in Badger. You know what, Wizards? Hey, y'all not banning Badgermole Cub? I'm gonna play some Badgermole Cub. Y'all not banning Storm Chaser's talent? Next video, Storm Chaser's talent. Just deal with it. You don't you don't want us playing these cards. Ban them. They are outrageously powerful, and we should be using them. It's only Wizards' fault. Anyways, that's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed some hulking out. Take care for now. Enjoy your weekends, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye. Oh, 사랑해, 이쁘나. Oh, I almost forgot. I'm so... 미안해요. 진짜 미안해요. 사랑해요. Bye.